So, Travis,
Yes.
we're here. So glad you took the time to meet me.
You're welcome, David. Glad you're here, my friend.
And your church has been moving to me over the past year of my life. I've been, it all started with the Jesus Revolution show that I watched years ago.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk's death brought a lot of people in the state of Maine together.
Yeah.
Certainly the Republican Party and a lot of people from the conservative movement of Maine and those who really cared about what he stood for. We gathered here, and then we've really made a friendship, David, ever since.
Yeah, it's after the Charlie Kirk event, I had dinner with him in Scarborough, and he invited me out to Colorado, and I spent that weekend out there with him and his people. I was blessed to have that opportunity. It was really kind of great, It opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And it's just funny because I started with that Jesus Revolution movie, and then next thing I know, the Calvary Chapel Church is part of my life. So, it's really weird, but things happen. The Lord works in mysterious ways.
We had that turning point event at the expo, and the Lord moved there. You were there. You were present. You saw people walk forward to receive Christ. It was really a special.
I was one of them.
You were
so
one
was
of them.
my daughter.
I know. It was really awesome to see you, David.
It was moving.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for that.
Yeah, man. You're welcome.
So I was raised Catholic, and for me, religion was different until I ran into the movie and Charlie and the Calvary Chapel movement and what's happening. And one thing I've noticed about the church is how open-minded the people that are involved in Calvary Chapel Church are. People say, well, we can't mix religion and politics.
Yeah.
Which to me is absurd.
Yeah.
In today's world, the information we get on TV or radio or newspapers, magazines, is funneled and filtered. When you have people like myself who I'm running for governor, right? You come in and talk to the folks and, let them ask you questions and shake their hands. And I think that's what the community is about. I think that's what we need, right? And, you guys are really on the forefront of that.
Yeah. Yeah, the saying is true where politics is downstream of culture. However, culture should be downstream of the church. The church should be the prevailing influence of the culture.
Yes.
And therefore, the misnomer that you just referenced that, let's keep a separation between church and state. Well, yes, the state should not step into the church and tell her how she should operate, but the church should certainly be stepping into every realm of human life, including and especially politics. So whether we're talking about abortion or we're talking about sexuality or we're talking about corruption that our state, as you know, David, we have so much corruption happening at the state level.
Yeah.
Of course, there is a book given to us by God himself that lays out morality, lays out righteousness, lays out sin, and it even talks a lot about government.
Yeah,
so
it does talk about
it does. And so as a church and as a minister, we have always opened the door to those like yourself who want to come in and take 5 or 10 minutes on a Sunday morning and speak to the church family about what it is that you are running for and what you'll be running against, including a lot of these things. So I wish more churches in our state were doing what a lot of us at Calvary Chapel have been doing for a long time.
Yeah, well, I did approach the bishop of the Catholic diocese here in Portland.
How'd that go?
Not very well.
Yeah.
As soon as I asked him if he felt if Islam and Catholicism were compatible, there was a knock on the door, and I said, Your Excellency, I'm sorry, but we have another meeting.
It's good timing, whoever that aide was.
No, it wasn't an aide. It was they were listening to the conversation.
Of course.
All right, so and that really, the Catholic Church has changed. And you can't be all things to all people, and that's what I like about Calvary Chapel. You guys believe in the Scripture.
Of course.
You believe that's the Word, and you preach the Word, and you practice the Word. You practice what you preach. And your life story, your wife's life story, Ryan, Chris, everybody. That I met, Ben, just all great people, right? And you've all found God and Jesus in your heart, right?
Yeah.
And so, for me as a person that's never been a politician, all right, I hate using the word.
Yeah.
It comes out painfully. I guess now I am a politician.
You got to own it now,
Yeah.
and you can rebrand it in a good way.
Yeah, that's the hope. Right?
Yeah.
But that shows me that there is hope, that there is an opportunity, and that you guys are open-minded about implementing the changes. We live in a godless state.
Maine and northern New England is notoriously godless, notoriously unchurched.
Well, Portland's like
Number two on the list of all cities in America.
In all the cities of all of America.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. So, I mean, when you see what you're doing here growing, I mean, what you've done here is just amazing work. You've got people like Chris Wilson, right?
Yeah.
His lovely wife, they're just fantastic people. And then, I've been here a few different times, we, just different events you've had, and shook hands, and you allowed us to even get signatures. I mean, which is what you should do. I mean, this is the heart of the community, and if you can't depend on the TV, the media, or any other source of media to give you real information.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Right.
They filter it, and to a point where you don't know if it's true. It's why you see me crawling underneath bridges, gathering needles in Lewiston, or fighting town council meetings where they're trying to keep boys and girls sports, or what happened?
Well, because I appreciate that the conservative guys who are running for the gubernatorial race, and I've told you before, you guys are making it tough for us, because I appreciate the men who are running. You guys at least know, as I just said, politics downstream from culture, culture's downstream from church. So everyone knows, let's go to the tallest or the highest point of the stream. Let's go to the church. Yeah. And if churches begin to do what churches should be doing, then down the stream, we'll get rid of the needles on the street.
Yes.
We'll get rid of the homelessness. We'll get rid of the bad actors in government. So I appreciate that you guys, at least on the conservative side, are seeing, hey, we need to be going to the church. I have, in all my years of pastoral ministry now, 6 years in this role of senior pastor, 4 years behind that as assistant pastor. For 10 years, I have never had a Democrat approach a Calvary Chapel church and say, we'd like to give a 5-minute pitch. That's telling. That's indicative. They long ago abandoned what the church or church folk thought.
That's really telling.
It is.
It is. And, I'll say this, we have a lot of people in the race this time, which is good. It's an open seat, so it's normal to have a lot of people vying for that position. But on our side, I've become friends with most everybody, except for one.
Yeah.
Right? And that's obvious. Everybody knows who that is. But, we all understand, what has to be done. And I think as a voter, what your decision and everybody else's decision is, who can get it done, who will get it done, who has the willpower, the desire, what's the motivation, and I think everybody, would like to see Maine be great again.
Yeah.
I know I do. I mean, everything I have is invested in the state, my wife, my kids, my business, so I want my grandkids to have the same opportunity I've had. I want this state to be a state of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity in the state of Maine, but the only problem is we're getting shut down because of all the rules and regulations.
I know.
And taxes, and taxes are a form of oppression. We're in political prison, financial prison. I'm sorry, that's actually political. Maybe it's a Freudian slip. I don't know, but we're in a place right now where the government has us where we can barely afford to live. 49%. I don't know if you saw a report that came out last night. 49% of the people live in the state of Maine can't afford it.
I know.
They don't have the means to do it.
Yeah.
They don't have the money in the bank.
Especially in southern Maine. I live here where the cost of living is outrageous.
Yeah, and so they're seeking sanctuary somewhere. They're leaving the state, and that's been the biggest problem. I've been here 41 years now, part-time, 30 years full-time as a resident. And, I've seen a lot of change. My kids all graduated here, and it's like, the schools weren't the same. The idea we would have boys and girls sports.
Yeah, I know.
And obviously your church has taken a strong position on that.
We have.
Yeah, God bless you for doing that.
Yeah.
That see, it's all these things that have really made me, gravitate towards the Calvary Chapel Church because of what I've seen. I say actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're looking at a state right now where whoever gets this governor's office, whoever takes the Blaine House, we need someone who's able to just look at common sense and then have the unction and the capability of getting it done. For instance, long ago we should have never allowed boys and girls sports, and we need someone to stand up and do it. Bellows is now kicking that ballot and trying to to a lot of hard work that Leyland Strife and that team
I know.
Protect Girls Sports went into.
Wow.
And now that's being, so there's so much corruption from the Attorney General down to the Secretary of State. There needs to be a cleaning of the house, quite literally. That needs to happen. And so my prayer, my hope, and my confidence is whoever wins the primary on Tuesday will be able to say, hey, we got to start getting rid of all the fraud from the top level down. I mean, the Maine Wire has exposed so much, billions of dollars of home health care fraud. Predominantly happening by the smaller population.
Right.
And so, in other words, it needs to be overlooked. It has been overlooked. It needs to be looked into. And we need someone that's able to work with the federal government. We do need someone that's able to work with the Trump administration and the Department of Justice.
Well, I'm the only Trump guy in the race, right?
I'd like to think there'd be more.
I am.
But I know you have great relations with him. Yeah.
No, I'm the only guy. I've been with
That's
it.
too bad.
30 years ago, I was for Trump. I always wanted that man to be president of the United States. I did an interview with Herman Cain in 2016, and right before he passed away. He was a great guy, 999, but what a good man, very religious. And then I did a thing with Ted Koppel on CBS Sunday. He's like, why do you want Trump? And I explained to him, he's the only one that's going to do what needs to be done. You can't, whoever's in the top dog position there, they've got to really have they've got to really have that heart and that fire in their belly, the warrior type thing. They got to know when to listen and when to start to fight. My mantra has become fight like hell. And
I see the signs everywhere. I was in Bangor this past week. I said David Jones is putting signs out.
We get 10,000 signs.
Yeah.
Right. And we put them out every day, and then they're stolen every day. And it's but you know where I got that from. Well, so the night I went after that one candidate, whose name I won't mention. Someone came up to me and said, "Oh, you got to fight like hell. You got to fight like hell." And I'm like, "Oh, that's I've heard that before. Where did I hear that before?" It was Charlie Kirk. So Charlie, when he was here the night I had dinner with him in Scarborough, he was up on stage. He says, "Maine," he says, "you guys have to fight like hell to make Maine great again." That was his own words.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I mean, I knew I had heard it, and I knew I heard Trump say it a long time ago, right? But it fits. Because if we don't fight and we don't take a position and we're not principled in our approach, nothing's going to get done.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to get done.
No, I agree.
And so, I'm running because, I prayed for a guy like me to run. He never showed up. And I said, all right, well, no one else is going to do it. I have to do it. And it wasn't a plan in David's life to be the governor of the state of Maine. It just kind of happened. I said, if Trump wins, I'll run.
Yeah.
Right? Trump won. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll run. And then I told you the story about
grandchildren.
the grandchildren.
Yeah, and we prayed for you then, months ago, when you came here to make your pitch and get signatures. And we have church family who are still praying for you and others, praying for you guys. And we need a man who has God-fearing convictions to get into the governor's office. So people who are going to watch this, we need to vote.
Yes.
There's a bit of a voter apathy in New England, and we're trusting that there's been a lot of talk, a lot of press, a lot of online kind of chatter about this coming Tuesday. I'm hoping we don't have voter apathy. People need to get out and they need to vote.
Amen. I've been saying it forever. Get your butt off the couch.
Yeah.
Go down and vote. Today is the last day. That
You just told me
vote.
that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you told me that. I'm getting on a plane Monday, so I'm going right after
Otherwise,
this
you
meeting.
would not be able to vote.
Yeah.
Right. So and that would be a big loss.
No,
Hopefully, you're going to pick the right guy.
Yeah.
Right. And look, whoever that is, you've got to go with who in your heart, who you feel would get the job done. I always said, I do the radio show with Ray, and I said, look, I don't know what happens. These people, they get elected, they promise all this stuff they're going to do, X, Y, Z. They get up there, they get into the chamber, they pump the gas in, they get total amnesia, and they forgot everything they said. I don't forget anything. Right? My promise is I will not ever, ever sign anything that's not in the best interest of the people of the state of Maine. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe anybody in Augusta anything. No, I don't have any cards or chips for people to pull in on me. I've always been David, the lone wolf warrior. I could build a coalition I did it with done it with my company. I've done it with my family. We've got a beautiful family, and and I just think I'm very fortunate to have what I have.
Yeah, I know.
It didn't come by accident.
I know it did. And if you can maintain that, not owing anyone except him, you live for an audience of one. I live for an audience of one.
Amen.
And if we live that way, it's amazing how upright and effective and successful we are.
I know.
So if you're the guy on Tuesday that wins,
Yeah.
maintain that. There's a lot of people that'll be behind you. Certainly myself, Calvary Chapel pastors, the fellowship of churches, we're behind a man who can live for an audience of one.
That's it. Well, that's what I'm here for.
Amen.
Right? You've allowed me to be part of your life for the past months back, and I appreciate that. I've met some really good people that I like, and I can just understand and feel like I fit.
Yeah.
It's a shame that the Catholic Church doesn't work like that anymore.
I know.
But you guys, you welcome people in. I've seen it. Peter Boldick,
Of course.
another one, faith-based recovery program for alcoholics and drug addicted individuals. Faith is the answer.
Yeah.
If we can bring faith back into society, we can make people believe in God and Jesus Christ and the word of the script, the word of the Bible, then we can win.
It is a revival. It is an awakening.
It's a
that
definite
is needed.
revival.
We need it. We need people to return to biblical thinking.
That's
It can happen.
Well, with your help, we're going to do it.
Love you, brother.
Amen.
God bless you.
Ditto. All right. You take care.
There it is.